Hey everybody, it's Fearless Gamer Girl here, and today I will be talking about the August PS Plus Essential Games. Let's get into it. Every month, I like to look through the new PlayStation Plus games and figure out what is actually worth downloading. August 2026 caught my attention because the lineup has several very different kinds of games. There are zombies, there are puzzles, there is horror, there are huge role-playing games, there are smaller games that can keep me busy for hours, and there are even some older PlayStation games coming back through PS Plus Premium. So I decided to go through the entire August lineup and see what stood out to me. I started with PlayStation Plus Essential. These are the monthly games that subscribers can claim and add to their library. The biggest game here is Dying Light 2 Stay Human Reloaded Edition. This is a large zombie game made by Techland. The world has been destroyed by an infection, and surviving is not easy. But what makes Dying Light 2 different from many other zombie games is the way I can move around the city. Instead of slowly walking everywhere, I can run across rooftops, climb buildings, jump over gaps, and use parkour to escape danger. That immediately makes exploring feel different. During the day, I can search the city, collect supplies, fight enemies, and explore buildings. But nighttime changes things. The streets become much more dangerous. More infected creatures come out, and some of them are extremely powerful. That means I have to decide whether the extra rewards at night are worth the danger. I like that idea because it makes the time of day matter. Dying Light 2 also received a lot of extra content after its original release. That means someone starting the game now is getting a much larger experience than players had when the game first came out. Another big feature is multiplayer. Up to 4 players can work together in co-op. Instead of exploring the zombie-filled city alone, I can bring other players with me. For people who enjoy open-world games, zombies, action, and multiplayer, this is probably one of the first August games worth checking out. The next essential game surprised me. It is called Big Walk. This game comes from House, the studio behind Untitled Goose Game. Big Walk is built around cooperation. Between 2 and 12 players can explore an open world together. But this is not mainly about shooting enemies or collecting better weapons. The challenge is communication. Players have to solve puzzles together. That sounds simple until the game starts limiting the normal ways people communicate. Instead of depending on normal conversations, players may need to use objects, gestures, tools, movement, and other clues to explain what they are trying to do. I can already imagine how funny that could become. One player understands the puzzle, another player has no idea what is happening. Someone is pointing at an object. Someone else is running in the wrong direction. Everybody thinks they are helping. That kind of confusion can actually be part of the fun. Big Walk is especially interesting because it arrives on PS Plus Essential as a day one release. That means subscribers are getting access when the game launches instead of waiting months or years for it to enter the service. The final main essential game is Signalis. This is a much darker experience. Signalis is a science fiction survival horror game with a retro pixel art look. I play as Elster, who wakes up and begins exploring a strange world filled with mystery. The game has an old school feeling. It uses limited resources, exploration, puzzles, and dangerous enemies to create tension. The pixel graphics might make it look simple at first, but the atmosphere is anything but simple. The world feels lonely and unsettling. I have to pay attention to what I find because the game does not just explain everything immediately. That makes Signalis very different from Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 gives me a huge city where I can run, climb, and fight. Signalis slows things down and makes every hallway feel dangerous. That variety is what I like about this essential lineup. I am not getting 3 games that feel exactly the same. I can play a large zombie adventure, I can solve strange puzzles with friends, or I can turn off the lights and play a creepy science fiction horror game. There is also an extra bonus connected to Marvel Token Fighting Souls. PS Plus Essential subscribers can receive a special pack with profile avatars and in-game results screen character poses. It is not another full game, but it is a nice extra for people who already play the fighter. After looking through Essential, I felt like August already had plenty to keep me busy, but then I moved over to PlayStation Plus Extra, and that is where the list became much bigger. PS Plus Extra starts big. When I reached the PlayStation Plus Extra games, the first thing I noticed was how different the experiences were. The first major game is Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is a cooperative shooter built around huge battles. I can join other players and fight waves of enemies across dangerous planets. Those enemies include bugs, robots, and brainwashed humans. The game can become chaotic very quickly. 1 minute, everything seems under control. Then enemies start coming from several directions. Explosions are happening everywhere. Players are calling in powerful weapons. Someone makes a mistake. and suddenly the entire mission feels like it is falling apart. That chaos is one reason the game became so popular. Helldivers 2 is designed to be played with other people. Working together matters. I cannot always run into every battle without thinking. The team has objectives to complete, and players need to help each other survive. The timing of the PS Plus release is also important because it connects with the Void of Liberty update. That update adds creepy new enemies and gives players another reason to return. After Helldivers 2, the lineup changes completely with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Instead of futuristic weapons and giant alien battles, this game takes me back to 15th century Bohemia. This is a role-playing game that tries to make its world feel believable. The setting is based on history. Combat is more grounded. The world is filled with towns, characters, problems, and choices. What interests me most is the level of detail. This is the kind of game I could spend many hours playing. I can explore. I can talk with characters. I can follow the story. I can learn how the game systems work, and I can slowly become part of its world. It is not something I would rush through in one evening. It is a big single-player adventure. That makes a good choice when I want something completely different from an online game like Helldivers 2. Then there is Vampire Survivors. This game looks much simpler, but simple does not mean boring. Vampire Survivors became known for being extremely easy to start and very difficult to stop playing. Enemies keep appearing around the player. I collect upgrades, my attacks become stronger, more enemies appear. Then even more enemies appear. Before long, the screen can become packed with monsters and attacks. The basic idea is easy to understand. Survive, get stronger, keep going. That simple loop is what makes the game work. I do not need a giant story or complicated controls every time I sit down with a game. Sometimes I just want something I can start quickly and enjoy. Then I reached Hell Is Us. This is one of the more unusual games in the lineup. Hell Is Us takes place in a strange country called Hadea. The country is dealing with a civil war, but there are also strange creatures and mysteries throughout the world. The game mixes combat with exploration and puzzles. What really makes it stand out is what it does not give me. There is no normal map filled with icons. There are no giant arrows constantly showing me where to go. The game does not always tell me exactly what to do next. I have to pay attention. If a character tells me something important, I need to remember it. If I see something unusual in the environment, it might be a clue. If a puzzle does not make sense, the answer may be somewhere I already visited. I like the idea because it makes me feel like I am actually exploring. In many modern games, I can follow a marker without thinking much about where I am going. Hell Is Us expects more from me. I have to listen, I have to look around, I have to remember details. I may even want to keep notes while playing. That will not be for everyone. Some players like knowing exactly where the next objective is, but I think there is something interesting about a game trusting me to find the answer myself. At this point, I had already found 4 extra games that offered completely different experiences. One was about huge cooperative battles. One took me into medieval history. One was built around fast and addictive survival. And one wanted me to slow down and solve mysteries without holding my hand. But there were still several extra games left. More extra games and a trip through the metro. The next game on my list has one of the longest names in the August lineup, Musume, Pretty Derby Party Dash. This is a colorful pixel art party game. It includes 4 different mini-games and more than 20 playable characters. What I like here is that I have choices in how I play. If I am alone, there is a single-player story mode. If I have people to play with, the game supports multiplayer. That includes local and online play. Party games can be great when I do not want to spend hours learning complicated controls. I can start the game, learn the basic rules, and have fun. The pixel art design also gives it a very different look from the larger realistic games in the extra catalog. Next is 2 Point Museum. This game puts me in charge of a museum. At first, running a museum might not sound like the most exciting idea for a video game, but there is a lot going on. I have to design the museum. I have to decide where things should go. I need to think about what visitors want to see. My staff can be sent on expeditions. Those trips can help them gain experience and bring back new artifacts. Then those artifacts can become part of the museum. The better the museum becomes, the better the experience can be for visitors. That gives me a steady goal. Start small, improve the building, find new items, train the team, bring in more visitors, keep making the museum better. I enjoy games that let me build something slowly. Instead of saving the world, sometimes it is fun to manage a place and watch it grow because of the decisions I made. Then I reached a game with a much darker setting, Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus is the 3rd main game in the Metro series. The series is based on books and takes place after a nuclear war. Many survivors live underground inside Russia's metro system because the surface became extremely dangerous. That setting alone makes Metro feel different from many other post-apocalyptic games. Underground tunnels can feel tight and uncomfortable. There are abandoned areas, there are dangerous creatures. Supplies can matter, and I never know exactly what might be waiting in the darkness. But Metro Exodus changes the formula. This time, more of the adventure takes place above ground. That creates larger areas to explore. I can still feel the danger of the Metro world, but I am not trapped inside tunnels for the entire game. There are open environments, different locations, and more room to explore. Metro Exodus also gives players a chance to experience this world before Metro 2039, which is expected next year. For someone who has never played Metro Exodus, this could be a good time to finally see what the series is about. Then something unusual happens with the extra lineup. Dying Light 2 Stay Human Reloaded Edition appears again. It is already included with Essential, but it is also being added to the extra catalog. At first that sounds pointless, but there is an important difference between claiming an essential game and simply playing something from the extra catalog. When a monthly essential game is available, I can claim it during the redemption period. As long as my PlayStation Plus membership remains active, that claimed game stays connected to my account under the essential rules. Extra works differently. Games can enter and leave the extra catalog, so if I have PS Plus Extra, I will still make sure I claim Dying Light 2 through the essential monthly game section while it is available. That way, I am not only depending on the game remaining inside the extra catalog. It is a small detail, but it can matter later. After finishing the extra list, I realized how large the August selection really was. I could spend hours fighting through Helldivers 2. I could disappear into the world of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I could play a few quick rounds of Vampire Survivors. I could explore Hell Is Us. I could jump into a party game. I could build a museum, or I could travel through the ruined world of Metro Exodus. And I still had not reached the premium games. PS Plus Premium and the games leaving finally, I reached PlayStation Plus Premium. Premium often interests me because it can bring older games back to modern PlayStation systems. This month includes 2 games from older PlayStation generations. The first is Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. This was originally a PlayStation 2 game. The basic idea sounds like classic action. A powerful young warrior has to battle the demonic Genma. There is sword fighting, supernatural danger, and plenty of action. Older games can sometimes feel strange when I return to them. Controls have changed, game design has changed, graphics have changed, but that is also what makes playing older games interesting. I get to see how developers handled ideas years ago. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams is also arriving at a good time because another game in the series, Onimusha Way of the Samurai, is set to release in September. So playing Dawn of Dreams could be a way to spend some time with the series before the newer game arrives. The other premium edition goes even further back. Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire, originally released on the first PlayStation. The game follows Milo and his team as they search for the lost empire of Atlantis. That adventure takes them deep beneath the ocean. Because this is being released through PS Plus Premium, it also receives some modern features. That includes up-rendering and rewind. Rewind can be especially useful in older games. Games from that time were not always as forgiving as modern releases. If I make a mistake, being able to rewind can save me from repeating a large section. It keeps the old game feeling mostly the same while removing some frustration. I like seeing games like this return because many players may have missed them when they were originally released. Some younger players were not even alive when these games came out. Now they can experience a piece of PlayStation history on modern hardware, but looking at the new games is only half of the monthly PS Plus story. I also need to know what is leaving. For August, several games are marked to leave the service. Most are expected to leave on August 18th. The list includes Earth Defense Force 6, Unicorn Overlord, Harold Halibut, Clash, Artifacts of Chaos, Dead Island 2, Roki, 1H Hanbara Origin, Bomber Crew, and Space Crew Legendary Edition. Whenever I see a leaving list, I do not immediately panic and try to finish everything. That would turn gaming into work. Instead, I look for anything I already wanted to play. If something on the list has been sitting in my backlog, the leaving date gives me a reason to finally start it. That is especially important with Extra and Premium. Those catalogs change over time. A game being available today does not mean it will remain there forever. That is one reason I check the monthly updates. It is not only about finding new games, it is also about knowing what I might lose access to soon. After going through everything, August 2026 feels like a month built around variety. Dying Light 2 Stay Human Reloaded Edition gives me a large zombie world. Big Walk gives me a strange cooperative puzzle adventure. Signalis brings survival horror. Helldivers 2 gives me huge multiplayer battles. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 offers a deep journey through 15 Custom for Bohemia. Vampire Survivors gives me something simple that can become very hard to put down. Hill is Us makes me think and explore. Musume Pretty Derby Party Dash brings lighter multiplayer fun. 2 Point Museum lets me build and manage something of my own. Metro Exodus takes me through a dangerous post-nuclear Russia. And before the month ends, I will make sure I check that leaving list one more time, because the worst time to remember a game I wanted to play is the day after it disappears.